The river. The trouble began long before June 9th, 1976, when I became aware of it, but June 9th is the day I remember. It was my 26th birthday. It was also the day I met Rufus, the day he called me to him for the first time. Kevin and I had not planned to do anything to celebrate my birthday. We were both too tired for that. On the day before, we had moved from our apartment in Los Angeles to a house of our own a few miles away in Altadena. The moving was celebration enough for me. We were still unpacking, or rather I was still unpacking. Kevin had stopped when he got his office in order. Now he was closeted there, either loafing or thinking, because I didn't hear his typewriter. Finally, he came out to the living room where I was sorting books into one of the big bookcases. Fiction only. We had so many books we had to try to keep them in some kind of order. "What's the matter?" I asked him. "Nothing." He sat down on the floor near where I was working. "Just struggling with my own perversity. You know, I had half a dozen ideas for that Christmas story yesterday during the moving. And none when there's time to write them down. Not a one." He picked up a book, opened it, and turned a few pages. I picked up another book and tapped him on the shoulder with it. When he looked up, surprised, I put a stack of nonfiction down in front of him. He stared at it unhappily. "Hell, why'd I come out here?" "To get more ideas. After all, they come to you when you're busy." He gave me a look that I knew wasn't as malevolent as it seemed. He had the kind of pale, almost colorless eyes that made him seem distant and angry, whether he was or not. He used them to intimidate people. Strangers. I grinned at him and went back to work. After a moment, he took the nonfiction to another bookcase and began shelving it. I bent to push him another box full, then straightened quickly as I began to feel dizzy, nauseated. The room seemed to blur and darken around me. I stayed on my feet for a moment, holding on to a bookcase and wondering what was wrong. Then finally, I collapsed to my knees. I heard Kevin make a wordless sound of surprise, heard him ask, "What happened?" I raised my head and discovered that I could not focus on him. "Something is wrong with me," I gasped. I heard him move toward me, saw a blur of gray pants and blue shirt. Then, just before he would have touched me, he vanished. The house, the books, everything vanished. Suddenly I was outdoors, kneeling on the ground beneath trees. I was in a green place. I was at the edge of a woods. Before me was a wide, tranquil river, and near the middle of the river was a child, splashing, screaming.